it's my favorite topic.
All right.
And there's a lot of freaking lights and you all are in the dark, so
Yeah.
this isn't, I'm not liking this.
Get used to it.
I know.
Okay. So the great Sam Cradduck.
The great.
Woo!
So, here, Miss Bejeweled. There you go. No, you do not have to be quiet. You do not, and I can't see you all, so I hate this. And I can't see this, and because my PowerPoint was done last night, I have no freaking idea what's on here. So we'll talk about it.
Wait till you see what I added.
So, I think the chair should be over here, and then we'll get the camera right. So hi.
Hi.
Hi. Let's do.
Before we start, Sam,
Oh.
we gotta get you.
Oh, wow, okay, he gets to go up my shirt now. Cause I need a microphone.
That is a terrible thing.
It's not his first time. You know, I'm pretty quick. I met Amy in Florida and we're already sleeping together, so. I mean, you guys just need to know. You want it up. Hold on, girls.
You know what? I'm gonna hit record because this is funny anyway.
Funny.
There you go. No problem.
We changed.
Yeah, I don't need one here. It goes in my pocket.
Does everybody know who Sam is?
Whoop, whoop.
Is there anybody, hold on first, is there anybody that doesn't? And if, good for you. And if you do, I'm sorry in advance. That's all I can say.
I found her on Facebook, by the way. I love
Yeah,
Facebook.
we were a Facebook hookup, but then she ghosted me for a year. She did. She put me on ice. Hey, you want to come do my show on PBS? Sure. Crickets. A year later, oh hey, remember me? No, I don't. So I'm Sam. I'm your local gerontologist, or not local. I'm Southern California. Anyway, you know the difference between my conferences and your all's is I sat there this morning listening to interest rates and closing times, and I'm thinking, we talk about incontinence and the newest products and changing BMs, and you guys talk about really fun stuff like money. But today we're going to talk about something, it's called More Than a Move. So you guys are into the niche market of moving our aging community, and thank you for that. But this is more than any move you'll ever do. Gosh, I hate the lights and not being able to see people I'm looking at. So anyway, this is going to be way more than a move. You guys are not realtors? I
Yoo-hoo.
said it right?
Yes.
I said it right?
Realtors, yes.
You're going to be senior advocates. And how do you become a senior advocate? You learn about people that you're going to be working with. So we're going to learn about two things today. We're going to learn about, what are we going to learn about? Hey, More Than Heart. Do you know why it's called More Than Heart? Anybody know? Come on. Do you know? Do you know? Jeez. Because it takes more than heart. You have the heart to do it, but without the understanding, then as a caregiver, you become just incredibly frustrated. You frustrate them. You lose relationships. So if we can teach you the reasons behind the behaviors with our aged community, then we can help you understand what's going on, and we can help you relate to them better. And that works for my industry as well as yours, any of us that are working with our aged community. So, you know what? I'm going to do this. How's that?
Yes.
Then I can see what I'm talking about. And I can kind of, you know, if I turn the chair, I could really read it. So there's going to be two things that you must understand when you're doing the work with our aged community. You have to understand the real estate you're selling, right? And you have to understand the people that you're working with. And so the easiest one is to understand the real estate. How many of you live in a house? Yeah. How many of you really like your house? You're attached to it for whatever reason. How many of you live in a house that's probably too big for you right now? That you've outgrown or you've shrunk? Okay. But you still want to stay there. Why do you want to stay there?
Comfort.
It's comfortable. But yet we come in and we tell our aged community, you gotta go. It's time. Why do we do that to them? If you know anything about me, I'm gonna teach you about dignity. I'm gonna teach you about them. I'm gonna teach you from their perspective. And that's what you've gotta know when you're going into this. Sometimes the answer is no. You don't have to move. And you gotta be willing to say that. You gotta be willing to give up commission sometimes for the better good. And we're gonna get into that, I hope. So, this is their home, folks. This isn't a house. This isn't real estate. This isn't a building. This isn't brick and mortar. This is their home. This is where they've lived. This is home sweet home. How many of you have heard that home for the holidays, right? Okay. I moved to California 25 years ago. I still call Kentucky home. I'm not ever going to live there again. I am not doing the humidity. I'm too fat for that. And the mosquitoes there are big enough to have sex with a turkey, so I'm not going there. So, but it's still home for me, right? Why is it home? Because it's a feeling of safety. It's a feeling of comfort. It's a feeling of belonging. And that's what we're selling. We're not selling a house. We're selling a feeling of belonging and a feeling of safety. And when you start to take that away from somebody, they're going to resist you. Rightfully so. None of us want to lose that. Okay? Let's keep going. So, you have to remember that their walls are literally painted with memories. How many of you can look around your house and you can see maybe a chip in the paint or a little something, and it's like, I remember that. My granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, on my plantation shutters, signed her name when she was 2 years old. I will clean those shutters every year, every spring and every fall. And guess what? AVA is still on there. And it will be on there until the day I die or move or whatever. I'm not going to clean it off because that's a memory for me. Walls are painted with memories. You walk into your home and you see the things that are important to you. So they've lived there for the last 40, 50, 60 years. They've shared that home with their children. They've raised their children. They've watched their grandkids. They've shared it with their spouse that's probably gone or could be. Think about these things when you're going in and you're saying, well, we can list it for X number of dollars. It comps out at this. I don't give a damn. I don't care what it comps out at. But this will provide for you for the rest of your life. Well, how long's my life going to be when you take away everything that's important to me? So, and I don't say that to truly discourage you. I say it to be aware of what you're asking. So when you come in, you're no longer that real estate agent. You are now an advocate for what's best. And sometimes what's best is no, you guys can stay here. We can figure this out. Maybe we can do a reverse mortgage. Maybe we can do an HELOC and take equity out for an aged person. Maybe we can figure out something a little more creative and have those tools in your toolbox. Don't just think about the bottom line and, well, my commission's going to be 3%, 6%. I don't know. I have no idea what your commission is. What I know is who you're working with. Okay? You ever grieved anything? You ever lost anything? You ever lost a person? Moving is grief. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I remember when I moved the first time. I think it was the first time. Well, the first time I remember. So it was after high school. And I wanted to get out of there. It wasn't like I was holding on to these great memories. I wanted to get out, but I still grieved. I remember when I moved to California. It was like the Beverly Hillbillies, for real. And only I didn't strike gold back here. And I grieved, I cried. I wanted to be home. So it feels like a death and like a loss, even when you want it. So what if you don't really want it? What if it's not what you're really hoping to do at this stage in your life? How many of you want to live and die in your own space and remain there? No. Only one person was brave enough to raise their hand that I could see. Two. Okay. We don't want to have to move. I don't want to move. My mom wasn't going to move. I was either moving from California to there, or she was going to die alone. She wasn't going to move. And we weren't going to make her. So we accommodated that. You have to realize that that can be part of the equation here. We don't want to do it. Why do we expect them to? Why do we expect them to be able to give it up so quickly? And that's frustrating to me. You have to put yourself in their shoes, okay? You have to go backwards and you have to go, you know what? One fall is not that big of a deal. It's really not. How many of you have ever fallen? Come on, don't lie to me. How many of you have fallen in the last 2 years? Okay, so 2 days. Okay, so how come you can fall and it's okay?
It's not okay.
But it's not okay. But how come you can fall and nobody's rushing in and saying you can't live at home? How come you get by with it?
We're in control.
You're in control. Why aren't they? Why do we feel like at some point in time an aged person can no longer control their own life and their own destiny? Why do we ever take that mindset? It's not fair to them, and it's certainly not fair to the culture that we're in. It's not fair to our world. Why would we do that? Why would we take from them, and why would we remove that dignity and that respect? Just because they're a little older and a little slower. And we're going to get to the slide, but I'm going to say it now. How many of you set an alarm this morning? Get up. Several. Smart. How many of you have reminders on your phone to tell you what to do and when to do it and how to do it and where to go be and what's on your calendar? Okay, I'm not really that great because I really don't give two hoots about where I've got to be. I just show up when I'm supposed to or sometime around there. But most of us set reminders. How many of you have children still at home? How many of you remind them of things? Those are normal. It's totally normal. It's totally acceptable, right? But if mom's 80 and she confesses, I forgot to feed the cat last night. I knew it. I'm so sorry. We need to talk about moving. You can't stay here any longer. You can't do it. You're going to have to go to an assisted living. You forgot to feed the cat. Well, really, I just need a damn reminder. I don't need you to take everything away from me. You don't have to rush in like a knight in shining armor and take it away. I just was being honest. So you know what we've created? We've created dishonesty. We've created that lack of trust between us and them. And we now have this battle for they're wanting to retain their independence. So how do I retain my independence? I don't tell you when I fall. I don't tell you when I slip and I forget. I don't tell you those things because the minute I tell you, what are you going to do? Take away. And that's what families like to rush in and do. And they do it for all the right reasons, but is what they're doing right? And then they involve you. Hey, mom, we need to sell mom's house. We need to sell dad's house. Mom's living alone. Dad passed away, and mom's alone, and we're going to move her into an assisted living. Well, have you talked to your mom about this? That would be the first question that I would ask. I don't care how much the commission is. Have you talked to mom about this? Have you talked to dad about this? How do they feel? Okay? And that's important. We have to realize that what we think is best and what a family thinks is best may not be what's best. Who knows what's best for you better than you?
Nobody.
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 Nobody. You know what is best for you. So why on earth did we decide the people that literally built everything that we have, that gave us this everything that we have here is on their backs, and why did we all of a sudden decide that they're incapable? Because there's a little more gray in their hair than maybe I have? Okay, probably not, but maybe they're a little bit slower. Maybe they have cognitive slips. Maybe they have more than one fall in a day or a year. I'd like to find out why they're falling, not tell them they've got to move. I'd like to help them with some fall prevention. And the reality is, the most injury doesn't come so much from the fall, it comes from delay. It comes from the long leg. So how do I help you get up? How do I teach you how to get up? Maybe I could do that for you, but not come in and whisk away everything that you're holding dear. You know, the last thing I want to do when somebody important, you know, let's just say if Donna dies, the last thing I'm going to do is say, I'm moving. No. No, I'm going to sit there and grieve. Maybe smell a pillow. I'm going to absorb the space we share. I am not going to go, oh, it's time to go to an assisted living. Ready to give it all up. Some people do, and that's okay because that's their choice. But don't take it away from them. Boy, this sounds pretty heavy. Damn. So we're gonna move you guys from agent to advocate, okay? That's what you are. You're no longer a real estate agent. You're a senior advocate. And advocating for someone means seeing what's best for them, not what's best for everyone else, okay? Does that mean that there's never a move? No. Sometimes there are, and you're going to grieve. They're going to grieve. Grieve with them. You win my prize. You absolutely win my prize for being the senior advocate. That card that you had filled out, Mary.
What did I do?
That card that you had filled out, and your post said how many years, how many hours, how many days that this woman had lived. And she took it and had all of the neighbors sign a card. You win. I sat there and went, oh my gosh, you got it. You understand. You understand that you didn't move an aged person, you moved a human being. That's what you moved. Was a human with memories. And yes, she needed to move, but you made that move about something more. So thank you. You win. Dignity prize of the week.
What is it?
What's her prize?
Oh, this is it. What's not oh my gosh. Who goes from the greatness is what it is.
Double rising star.
Gee. So you can either be the advocate or you can be, and you've heard me say it, the villain. Okay, because every story needs a villain. Every story needs a villain, and you've got a choice when you walk into that room whether you're going to be the advocate or you're going to be the villain. And let me tell you, you can do everything right. You can do everything right and everything under the sun, and you could still be the villain. You could still be the villain. Hospice nurses deal with it all the time, okay? Oftentimes families get pissed off at hospice nurses. Well, they killed them. How did they do that? Oh, they were giving them morphine. They were giving them medicine. They killed them. Well, by the sheer fact that they're admitted to hospice, they're terminal. So nobody's killing anybody at this point. The disease is. But oftentimes, we as people need to have someone to blame. Please understand that. So you can do everything right. You can make the cards. You can provide the dignity. You can ask all the right questions. You can be there and understand what they're giving up. And at the end of the day, they may still say, that real estate agent stole my home. They took my home away. And it's okay. Because at that point, if they're pissed off at me, they're not pissed off at their family. If I'm the one that's telling them they've got to go to an assisted living and they've got to leave their home, they can be mad at me, but I'm protecting that family member. And I will do that to the ends of the earth if it's a good situation. I really will. And so be willing to be their villain while still providing dignity and respect. Please understand, it's okay. They don't have to like you. At the end of the day, you're still going to cash the check. I promise. And I don't say that to be cruel. There's going to be those times where you're going to do absolutely everything right. You're going to come in, you're going to ask all the right questions. You're going to tell them, you know, hey, maybe we could delay this. Or no, you know what, it's time. Yes, I understand. I know that you really want to stay here. But, you know, these things have been happening. And you're going to be that perfect advocate. And they're still going to be upset with you. And that's okay because they're grieving. And part of grief is anger. please understand, part of grief is anger. And when you're burying something, be it your house, be it your past, be it your retirement, whatever you're burying, you're going to be angry at something at some point. So it's okay to be there we go. It is okay to be the villain. Now, what's this one say? Because I can't see it. The other side of the equation. So we talked about the house. Really, we talked more about the people. So now we're going to keep talking about the people. I don't have a freaking clue. Like, hey, it's a cute cartoon. What was I thinking?
The fight.
Oh, she's gonna fight it. She's gonna fight it.
That's right. It's exactly what it is. So sometimes you're going to go in and they're going to fight you tooth and nail. Have you ever fought somebody for what you wanted? Have you ever stood up for what you thought was best for yourself when everybody else told you no? And if you didn't, you never dated. Because I can guarantee you if you dated, there was somebody in your life that said, she's not good for you, he's not good for you, and you're like, and you kept dating them. I dated a guy for over a year that I couldn't stand because my mom didn't like him. Talk about rebellion. How dumb was that? But I'm serious.
You didn't marry that one.
Oh, hell no.
That really would have been.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't even up. I'm not sure. But they're going to fight sometimes, and that's okay. If I'm fighting to stay somewhere, if I'm fighting to do something, listen to me. Listen to the fight. Okay? My youngest daughter, nobody liked her. It's currently her husband. And it was the first guy she ever dated. So my daughters weren't allowed to date. Don't ask. They just weren't really allowed to date when they were home. And so when she goes off to college, what's the first thing she does is hook up and start dating this guy. And he had a little bit of a reputation, so now the whole family's hearing about him, and nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. So I get her on the phone, and I'm like, I'm not judging him. She's like, everybody hates him, Mom. I'm like, tell me why he's rocking your world. Fight for him. Tell me why he matters this much to you, that you're gonna go against the grain of everybody else in your life. Explain that to me. Fight for him if he's this important. And she did. She called me every night. She told me exactly what he was doing. He got to where he was calling me every night, and I became his greatest advocate. So when he asked permission to marry her, I'm the one that said, absolutely, you're a great guy. Yeah. They've been married for 12 years. He's still a great guy. There's things I would improve on him, but there's not, I'm not the one that's having to snuggle up. So you have to realize that there's going to be fight. But you got to listen to the fight. You can't just say, oh no, I heard you had 3 falls last month. You forgot to feed the cat. You don't want your cat to die. Well, I can't take my cat to the assisted living. Well, but we'll find a home for your cat. You forgot to feed it. But it happens, doesn't it? Am I wrong?
No.
I'm not wrong. Have you thought about it from this perspective? No. Sometimes, maybe. Maybe. So if they're fighting you, listen to the fight. If they're fighting their family, listen to the fight. And then be the advocate that can come back and be that voice of logic, that voice of reason. It would have been easier for me if my mom would have moved. For 2 years, I flew back and forth from California to Kentucky every month to spend a week. It would have been easier for me if she had made a choice to move, but it wouldn't have been better for her. So oftentimes we take convenience and we say that's the reason why they need to move. Because it's more convenient for us as family members. Well, if I can figure out how to keep you there and afford to keep you there, and if I feel like you're safe for the most part, yeah, you're gonna fall. It's gonna happen. We all admitted it. We've all fallen. So why is this such a change here? I think it's absolutely amazing that Valerie's mom still lives alone. 106 next month?
Next week.
Next week, 106.
Wow.
I think it's absolutely amazing. A move would absolutely kill her. A move would be the end of her life. And we have to realize that sometimes. What are we taking from them when we're doing this? What do they gain? And if they're not gaining in the long term, I understand the short-term loss. If they're not, then maybe the answer is no, not now. You have to remember that you never age out of being human. We are human always. You're never too poor to be human. You're never too black. You're never too brown. You're never too white. You're sometimes too mean, but that's a different story. You're never too old to be a human being. And all human beings deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, period. It doesn't end because you've reached the age of 90 or 80 or you have a cognitive decline. You're still a human being that deserves to be respected and deserves to be listened to. So we need to start listening to our senior community and not just passing by. I love the idea of you guys doing your podcast and interviewing our aged community and getting their stories. I've told you, they're living, breathing history books. They're the classic cars of humanity, and we walk past them every day. But if a classic car's out here in the driveway, in this parking lot, I can guarantee you, even in the rain, somebody's gonna turn around and look at it and stare at it for a minute. But if an old person's sitting out there, you might get them out of the rain, but you're gonna just walk by. You're not gonna see them with the same glory that you see that classic car. But that's who they are. Classic cars of humanity. We don't age out of being human. See, we don't roll backwards, right? I'm not sure that we ever rolled forward. I'm not saying, I'm not up here teaching Darwin or any of that. I'm just saying, we don't roll backwards. We don't age out of being human. So, now, sometimes a move can happen too late. And we know that. Sometimes there are too many falls. Sometimes it's too unsafe. Sometimes we've left the burner on too many times. How many of you have ever left the burner on your stove? Recently. Okay, so this is something that I do a lot, and seriously, and I live with someone who has dementia, okay? I seriously live in a home with somebody who has diagnosis of dementia, and yet I'm the one that leaves the stove on all the time. I do a lot of cooking. I love to cook, and I'll turn everything down to that low burn, and then I'll take, I have two kitchens, so I'll take from my kitchen, and then I go over to the apartment where Donna's kitchen is, and that's where we eat, right? Because there's a reason for two kitchens, don't ask. Two women in the same house that have raised families together, we need separation too, okay? And so I will leave it on slow, and then I'll just grab that pan and I'll take off and I'll walk on over there, and then the next morning I'm like, I left the burner on all night long. And I'm gas, I'm not electric. So there's a little flame going on. I might notice it at night when I go to put the coffee together, but I do it. So is somebody gonna whisk in and tell me I can't live on my own because I'm an idiot?
Right.
They might, probably should. But so, sometimes the move does happen too late. Sometimes you're getting that call after there have been way too many things that have happened. And you're still gonna be the advocate. You're still gonna be the person that's gonna be the sensible person. You're still gonna be the one that's gonna wonder and talk to them. Why has it taken 16 falls and the cat's now starved to death? Why have all these things happen? And you're gonna have the conversation with them, and you're gonna find out, I didn't wanna leave. I don't wanna leave my home. This is where he and I lived for 65 years. This is where he died. This is where my son died. Lots of people have lost their children in their homes. Do you wanna leave that? Oh, hell. So you're gonna spend that time still as an advocate, knowing that the outcome of this needs to be yes. For your safety, we do need to do this. And that's only if at that point it's not affordable for them to stay. If you can figure out a creative way for them to stay and get the care they need, then please do that. Because if they're already in that level of decline, they're probably not gonna pick back up. And that move's going to put the nail in the coffin a little sooner. And we don't wanna do that to anybody. Oh, this is the reminders. This poor little lady needs to set reminders she can't live alone anymore. Why do we do that? How many times have you ever heard that? Well, they're forgetting to take their meds. They can't live alone anymore. Do you know they make really cool things to help them remember how to take meds? And locked up. Because I realize with cognitive decline comes a little bit of sorting. I mean, we get like, we're gonna put all the blue pills in one. We're not gonna talk about the blue pills. And then those 4 hours, no. So we do that. So it's like M&Ms. You start sorting them by color. We believe in segregation at that point. So let's put them in a locking pill box that gives an alarm that tells them when to take them. Let's use some of the aging tech that's out there to remind people to do the things that they need to do without taking away from who they are. Okay? Setting a reminder is something all of us do every day. It keeps us on track. Catherine could set a reminder to be on time. It helps us, right? But they do it, can't live alone. We have this double standard in our country. And I say more in our country than others. Our culture has decided that the most valuable asset we have, which is our aged community, is a burden. When did human beings become burdens? And that terminology absolutely infuriates me. And I understand from a scientific standpoint what a burden is. A burden is a workload, right? That if you look up the definition. But when did we ever see people that way? But we treat them that way. So we have a double standard when it comes to humanity for our aged community. And we've got to get away from that. If I can do anything in this world, and I will preach it and teach it till the day I die, I will draw my last breath saying, we are human always. So you cannot ever age out of, I'm gonna keep saying it, you cannot age out of being human. You will be human from the day that you draw that first breath till the day that you draw that last breath and go through your final sunset. And if you're not, I really want to talk about it. If you're not, I really want to know what happened. You can change your sex. You can. It's possible. You can change how you look. You can change your skin color. You can lose limbs. You can do all kinds of things, but you will still be a human being at the beginning and the end of the day. And we have got to treat everybody the same. And that is something that this country could really want to do. They are still decision makers. They are still our memory keepers. Holy smokes. Have you talked to anybody that was in World War II? Have you ever spent any time talking to somebody that spent any time in the wars? I had a guy one time that was there when Martin Luther King gave his speech. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I took care of a lady who was in Pearl Harbor. She was a nurse in the Navy. She was supposed to be there. She was supposed to be on the docks. They didn't let the ladies on the ships. She was supposed to be on the docks. She was having a little fling with an island boy, and she was overdoing the horizontal mamba. And the attack happened, and it's what saved her life. But her stories, her memories, and she rushed right there and triaged and helped. And so they are our history books. They're walking, living, breathing history books. They've lived through more than any of us have ever lived through. Now, I use this example all the time. How many of you know where you were at during 9/11? You remember it, right? You remember it with emotion. I can't talk about that day without honestly tearing up. I cannot talk about that day without feeling that same lump in my throat and in the pits of me. Because my brother flew everywhere all the time. And I knew he was on a plane that morning, and I had no idea where he was at. And I couldn't get a hold of him. And I had just moved to California. And it wasn't just about him, it was about the loss that we all felt, right? Do you know there are teachers in our school districts now that were not alive then? Can you imagine that? So how do they teach 9/11? Well, an attack happened, a plane flew into, and wait a minute, okay, 7 minutes later, another. They teach it as a textbook. Spend time talking to somebody who was there. They're walking, living, breathing history books. Don't discount it. Don't take away from it. Don't remove it. Don't erase it. Learn from it. Put the book down and listen to it. They still have purpose and they still have a voice. Let them use it. Don't let their families take it away from them. You got to remember, retirement is tough. How many of you plan to ever retire? You're going to? You're going to? Okay, you guys are excited about it. You? No.
Nope.
I have no, people ask me all the time, they're like, so when are you gonna retire? And I'm like, I work with retirees. I'm not doing that, folks. No. Retirement takes away so much because, who are you? Mark, who are you? Mark? All right. But tell me about Mark. Who's Mark? What do I?
I am who I am.
You are who you are. Good. All right. All right. Robin, who
I
are
don't
you?
like definitions.
Okay. He doesn't like definitions. Robin, who are you?
I'm human, I'm a person.
All right. Most of
I
us,
do things.
yeah, most of us define ourselves by what we do.
Yeah, why, realtor.
Yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a mammy. I'm a gerontologist. I'm a me.
In your hometown.
I'm great.
You're great.
I'm
That's what
great.
it says on my phone, right?
There it is.
She added that to her contact in my phone, so now that's
She
what.
she had one too many drinks and I got her phone.
Yeah. I just call her greatness. But when you lose your identity, it really does shake you up.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So we have to realize that most of us, and I love that Mark said, I don't like labels. I don't like that. I love that Robin said, I'm a human. Most of us spill off what we do, not who we are. Most of us, when you ask them who they are, they tell you what they do. So most of us identify ourselves that way. And so when you retire, you lose a portion of who you are, whether you realize it or not. You may gain a whole lot in travel and in those things. You may gain a whole lot in peace. But oftentimes you lose more than you truly do gain when it comes to identity. And you have to reinvent yourself, okay? So a forced move can feel like loss of self, an end of a purpose. My purpose is to take care of my home. I really, as odd as it sounds, because I'm an anomaly, I am very much a homebody that loves to clean and take care of my home and cook and do those things. I mean, you think I'm like out every night partying. I'm telling you, I put 21,000 miles on my truck in 4 years. I don't think I go a lot of places. So this move can feel like that final nail in their coffin. And it can feel like you're taking things away. And you have to realize that. Doesn't mean that you don't continue to help. But if you're not realizing the bigger picture, you're not helping. You're just selling a house. Okay? Realtors as advocates. You're going to navigate the grief, the fear, and you're going to do it with compassion. You're going to do it with understanding. You're going to do it in a way that makes them feel like they're important to you, because they certainly should be. And if they're not important to you, please go sell homes to newlyweds. They don't care. They're just looking to buy the cheapest thing that they can afford with the best interest rate that maybe can fit part of what they think they're going to grow up as a family. If you're going to work in this industry, recognize the people that you're going to be working with and recognize who they are and the value they have. Sometimes the best answer is you're right. You don't need to do this right now. You're absolutely right. So once you've listened to that kid that's called you and said, Mom needs to sell her house, can you go over and get a comp on it and get an assessment, and can you do this? Because I would anticipate that a lot of your calls come from family members. Am I right? A portion of them. Sit down. The first thing I'm going to ask them is, okay, talk to me about the move. Where are you moving to? Why are you moving? Not, are you sure you want to do this? That opens the door up to no. That's like asking a kid, do you want to eat peas? No, I want ice cream, but if you're going to make me, I'll have the peas and the green beans. you don't wanna open that door up, but you also don't wanna slam it shut. You don't wanna throw that lock on and say, no, you can't talk about this. So talk to me about the move. Spend time, okay? I get it. Selling houses to younger people has got to be easy because you take them, you show them, they don't even want to look anymore. They're going to be on their phone, they're going to be scrolling, they're going to be doing everything. They're going to run through, they're going to say, nope, not this one, you're going to go to the next one. And you're going to sit down with an older person, and 2.5 hours later, you've already missed the next appointment. You've had to pee, and you're really kind of concerned about the cleanliness of the restroom in the house that you're in. And you're like, okay, good thing I put on my pad this morning. I have my evidence here. And you're gonna be like, okay, you are gonna spend way more time. You're going to really earn your commissions. You really are. But please do it. They're worth it. They're worth it because what they need most from any of us is the time that we're gonna take to spend there and sit there and listen to them. Right? You gonna be a superhero or are you gonna be the villain? What you gonna be? How many superheroes? You wanna be a superhero? I want that body. I went quick. I'm not done yet.
You're not gonna give me 5 minute lunch?
I'm not gonna get you 5. Oh, I can keep talking. So this isn't just about a transaction. It's about a legacy. If you could take something with you. So when I moved out of my house after my divorce, I literally walked with nothing except for one thing. I snuck back in. I could have taken all kinds of things when I snuck back in. I snuck back in with a piece of wax paper. I rolled it up on that wall where I had my kids' growth chart. I taped it up and I drew that growth chart out. Because for me, that was the most important thing I could take from that house that I was never gonna get again. And that was my kids from here to here. So when you're moving them, if you can get a card that all the neighbors sign, which, telling you, touched my heart. If you can get that kid's growth chart and you can move it to the new house. And I'm serious, wax paper, you take it, you tape it, you sit there and you spend the time and you draw it all out. And then you take it to the new place or you put it on a board and you set it up and you say, I can't bring that with me. Can't bring that, I can't cut that drywall out. You could. You can. But you can. You can. But I will absolutely give you that. How many of our aged community have to take everything from a 3-bedroom house that they raised their kids in, they were with their spouse, they've had their grandkids at, everything else, and they have to shrink it down into a tiny little apartment. And they leave behind so much. You know, there's another reason why we don't want to move. As long as I'm in a big house, my kids can come visit. They may not, but I hold on to the hope that they will. The minute I move out of that big house, they have another excuse not to come. And this one is you don't have enough space for me. Think about that one. Did that just go, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Was that like a gut punch of reality? So you're giving the kids another reason to maybe not drop by, or the grandkids a reason not to come stay over. And for them, they've held on to that hope forever. Well, the guest bedroom's always made for you, honey. You know you can come and stay. I know, Mom. I know, Grandma. I know, Papa. They don't come, but the offer's always there, and that offer can no longer be there. That offer of, hey, we could do Thanksgiving at the house. You all bring the food. You ever tried to do that in an apartment of an assisted living? Some of them have little dining areas that they can do that in, but it's not the same. It's not the same family meeting. It's more formal. So, how to practice dignity first in real estate. You gotta shift your language. You gotta adopt the mindset that you are the advocate. And you've gotta build a partnership. Who are you building a partnership with? Everyone. You're building a partnership with the person, the homeowner, that's gonna be moving, you're building the partnership with the kids that are insisting that they move, and you're building the partnership with the community that you're moving them to. You have to have the partnerships. You don't wanna move somebody off just to willy-nilly little assisted living over here that's got a rating of a 1 star because that's what the family can afford. You don't wanna do that to them. You wanna help them figure out the best possible outcome, the best situation. And sometimes that situation's staying at home, sometimes that situation might be shared housing somewhere else. You know, maybe it's with one of their children. You wanna open up the door to all kinds of things. You wanna really think outside of the box. Hey, wait a minute, you know, Mary met Ethel last week and she's really not wanting to move. Maybe if I put Mary and Ethel into a rental together, Mary and Ethel can complement one another. Why can't we start thinking like this? Why can't we start thinking in the terms of shared housing? How many of you want to live alone? We really don't. You know, there's,
I talk about it all the time.
you want to live alone?
No, I don't want to live alone. I
You
talk
don't wanna
about shared housing all the time. That was my thing.
Yeah, most of us don't want to live alone. So an apartment, when the door closes at night, I don't care how big the community is, when the door closes on the apartment at night, where are you? You're alone. And so why don't we start thinking, we have a housing crisis for our aged community, why don't we start thinking in terms of shared housing? Why don't we start thinking in terms of the golden girls? Hey,
Yeah, all about that.
I'm literally all about that. Build another kitchen, put 2 women in the same house, have fun. I'm serious. Why can't we start thinking like that when the kids approach us? You know what? And I would actually encourage you to start keeping that list of, you know what? Hey, Mary is probably a year away from really needing some extra help and a move. And then guess what? You take 2 or 3, 4 people in the same house, they can then afford that caregiver. They can then afford the caregiver to come in. So what's caregiving cost an hour here?
Maybe about 35 an hour less, yeah, 33.
30, 35, 33? And then a 3 or 4 hour minimum?
4 hour minimum.
4 hour?
Dallas, 4 hour.
So $140 every time somebody pops through the door. Isn't that ridiculous? So we need to start doing shared care. Share the care. We really do. We need to find this neighbor needs an hour, and this neighbor needs an hour, and this neighbor needs an hour. We need to find the homeowners, the home agency owners like myself, and say, hey, you might not be able to get 4 hours here, but I can get you 4 hours within a couple miles of one another. Can you do that? Abso-flippin'-lutely. Abso-flippin'-lutely. And my minimum's 3. And I do what's called share the care in our senior communities. So if you live in a community together like a Sun City, we'll go from here to here to here to here. And then your hour becomes a 50-minute hour. We become therapists and we don't give you a full 60 minutes. We use our travel time and take it off of you. But guess what? Some days we're there at your house for a little longer than an hour and we charge you for that hour. And that helps with affordability. So start talking to your home care owners and ask them if they would be willing to do stuff like that. You guys are in the field, you're seeing the ones that have the needs. Say, hey, you know, maybe if I get you this client and this client and this client and this client and you send the same caregiver. Now in California, we're required to pay what's called travel time if we're sending you from here to here. I don't know if you have to do that anywhere else. California's got some weird labor laws that are never employer friendly. So we have to pay you your mileage and your time between. So for the caregiver, they don't care. They're getting a break. They're drinking their soda. They're hitting their vape pen or whatever they're doing along the way. But you have to also make sure as a home care owner that they're getting where they're supposed to be on time. That they're not, you know, driving around the block 12 times to eat their nuggets from McDonald's. But try to come up with some of those ways to invent ways to help our aged community. You're not just selling a house, you're shaping how society views aging. You're part of the Human Always movement. Human Always is a movement that I'm starting, or have started, and that literally is what I've been saying all day, is we never age out of being human. As a senior home coach, you are part of that movement, whether you realize it or not. And we have to bring back the dignity and the respect into our aged community that used to exist. I grew up in a time where if you had silver hair, you were respected. And if you weren't, you as a kid were beat. No, seriously, we were taught that these people knew, and to respect them and to understand and to give the best to them. And so we can bring that back, and we can bring that back through you. We can bring that back through the realization that they haven't aged out of being human, that they haven't gotten too old to be able to be independent or worthy or valuable. And that's what you've got to do, and that's what you can do. Every loss, every move can feel like a loss or a legacy. Every single move can feel like a loss or a legacy. You guys get to choose. You guys set the stage. So you can walk through the door and you can hear all the grumpy stories, and then you can say, so tell me about this. When did you buy the house? And you realize that you're going to spend those 2.5 hours, so don't plan that next meeting. Don't plan the skin peel or the eyelashes or whatever else you got going on. The nail appointment can wait, I promise. Spend that time with them. And then if the end of the day, the sale doesn't happen, if it's, you know what, thank you. You just empowered me to stay at home. You've walked away with your own self-dignity, your own worth, your own value. Maybe not a check to cash at the end of this day. But guess what? The next time my neighbor needs somebody, hey, call her. She came in, she spent the time, she talked to me. You're building your relationships right there. You're building your next clientele right there in referrals. Because referrals are the name of the game. They're the ones that took the time. They're the ones that saw me for who I am. They're the ones that respected me. They're the ones that gave my mom a card from all the neighbors. Please call her next time. This is who I use. This is who I recommend. Be that for them every time.
Woohoo!
That's not me. I'm like, broadcast my brilliance. All right.
Can you go back one, please? I didn't put a blank slide in there.
She didn't put a blank slide in there. I just gave away Val's secret.
Let's have a little conversation, because we have a few minutes. I'll come sit up there.
Oh.
I love your human
Well, let's get you mic'd up
always.
first.
Get what?
Do you want to get mic'd up first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So how do you all like my new logo for Human Always?
that.
Okay, so right here it says Mason, and right here it says Ava. So my grandkids drew that for me.
Aww.
It's my grandson. So I said, I told him what I wanted for a logo, and I said, all I can picture is a big red heart with a thumbprint in the middle. Because what's a thumbprint? And yeah, your identity, exactly. And so I gave them the criteria, and when I showed up, this was what they sent me. So that's
How old are they?
she is 11 and he is 8.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So they that is a new logo we are trademarking for Human Always.
I love that movement. That is really cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that they can help spread.
Yes.
Like my friend
Yes.
Sam,
The greatness.
yeah, so it's good stuff.
So yeah. Any questions? Anything anybody wants to say? Stories you want to share? Yes.
I love what you said about them staying in their home and how moving them could kill them.
Yes.
How does that correlate to them staying in the home could have them decline faster? So how do you balance that?
So recognizing that somebody needs assistance doesn't mean somebody has to move. So staying in your home without support may not be the answer. That can be the, okay, we're gonna leave the burner on without the flame, and we're gonna, CO2 ourselves to death or whatever. So maybe we need assistance, but can we figure out how to provide that in the home? Can we figure out, pull in some equity from the house? Can we get some of the family members to chip in some pennies from the penny bank? Can we do those things to help you stay here with the assistance you need for the safety? I'm not saying we just go, well, all right, you don't want to move, and we leave them there in soil and incontinence and all of those things. No, I'm saying we still provide the assistance, but we do it on their terms.
But what if I'm talking more about, sometimes they're in a home and they're doing okay physically, it's the social aspect that's being missed.
So please understand this, and I get this all the time from family members, and it drives me nuts. Well, I'm moving her because I want her to be social. I want her to move to a community so she'll have somebody to socialize with. Well, was mom social before? No. No. It's like I get this one. I want mom to go walking every night. We go for walks and she refuses to go for a walk. Dad will not walk with us. Well, was he a walker before? No. So why do you think we're going to pick up a new habit now? I love Amy. I'm never going hiking with her. I'll sleep with her, but I'm not hiking with her, okay? It's not going to happen. It's not a habit I'm going to pick up. Now, put me on a softball field, I'm there. We've got to find their socialization, what makes them happy. Why do we think all of a sudden you're 85 years old and you've got to socialize? You were a hermit for the last 30 years. Why can't you continue to be a hermit crab?